But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on that thought.
Good evening and welcome to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Wraith. Thursday night means I'm joined by Gibbo and Supermac, and it's a rare event. I'm not at a game. I didn't have the chance to get tickets for this one, only because I couldn't go to the original game, and all the tickets, of course, were sold out. And with us going down to Chelsea on Sunday, I've got to be honest, too close together. My mum's still in hospital. I thought I'll give this one a miss. I'll sit at home and try and put up with Twitter and see whether I can get some kind of stream to watch it. So here I am. I can do the show, which is fantastic. And I've got to be honest, my ears have been ringing this week, John, just with the whinging again from Ralph Hasenhüttl.
Dear me.
It was bad enough in January, but he's going on again at his press conference, and we've got a good team now, and they've improved. And he's just a whinger, isn't he? Twists on 21, that guy.
Yeah, and he's even suggesting that the players that signed after January 2nd through the window shouldn't play tonight.
Exactly.
It's utterly ridiculous, because what's the point of having the window if you're not going to look to improve your side, for heaven's sake?
Do you think it's got something to do, Malcolm, with the fact that they didn't manage to buy anybody in January?
Well, yes, that and fear, John.
Yes. No, it's a nonsense. I hope he gets his backside tied tonight, and then he's got something to moan about after the game.
They're coming off the back of having had their backside well and truly tanned.
Yeah, interesting stuff. I'm sure we'll look ahead to tonight's game and look ahead to Sunday's game as well during the course of the programme. And we'll also dip into the chat to see what people are wanting to talk about. Big news today, of course, is that Roman Abramovich's money has been frozen, John. All his assets have been frozen, which means that Chelsea Football Club have got real problems.
Oh, massive, massive problems. I mean, they've been the European champions, the World Club champions, and then their fans are now wondering when the next trophy is going to come along because of all the restrictions. Thankfully, as you know, Steve, because you're going, thankfully it doesn't affect the Newcastle fans at all for Sunday, because while they can't sell any more tickets for matches in the future to their own fans that aren't season ticket holders or for away fans, it doesn't affect Sunday, because all the tickets sold prior to this these sanctions today are valid. And of course, all the Newcastle United tickets were sold prior to today. So it doesn't affect our gate. But for their fans, the uncertainty, I mean, you can't go to the games unless you're a season ticket holder for the rest of the season. Sponsors are beginning to pull out as we talk, or suspend the sponsorship while these sanctions are on. They can't buy or sell any players once the transfer market opens again, unless they can't technically sell the club. But of course they can, because there's a way around it, whereby as long as Abramovich doesn't receive any monetary gain from the sale, then the sale can go ahead. But he isn't allowed to put any money in his pocket, as Ashley did, of course, and others, naturally. He's not allowed to do that. So if you're a Chelsea fan playing at Norwich tonight, and then the first home game of this new setup is ours on Sunday, the uncertainty is absolutely huge.
Yeah, Mal, it's unprecedented times for Chelsea, isn't it? This could cause major issues.
Should the conflict go on to the beginning of next season, am I to presume then that Chelsea can't sell season tickets for next season?
Oh, they can't, if the situation, while the situation, Malcolm, is as it is now, they cannot sell anything. Tickets for games, buy anybody, sell anybody, because that's a financial gain.
Right, if this war continues, then Chelsea will play behind closed doors.
Or they continue with the sanctions. You know, after the war, if he had
Yes.
won the war, in quotes, then, the implications are absolutely ginormous for Chelsea themselves, because the club shops are already closed on the ground. They can't sell any merchandise, etc., etc. So it is absolutely massive for Chelsea. It's unprecedented in English football at all, ever. Luckily for Newcastle fans, because my first worry this morning, Steve, was for 30 seconds, was, we have been stuck with a game on the South Coast tonight at an ungodly hour, Thursday night, for fans getting home from the game, etc. And our away support is so vital to the team, because they have been rowing us on to getting 2 away wins in a good draw in the last 3 fixtures. So we need the support tonight, and we need it on Sunday, but luckily we've still got it on Sunday. So that's interesting. But it's going to be interesting to see what the reaction of the Chelsea players is to this situation. Do they stack the hand because they say, look, we've won the European, we've won the world, we're not going to win the Premier League title this season? Half of them, Malcolm, will be able to get free transfers in the summer, because they're not allowed to negotiate new contracts.
Anybody out of contract can leave the club for free.
Yeah. And they can't now negotiate a new contract to keep them, Steve. If you haven't signed a new contract now and your contract is up at the end of the season, you go for nothing. So there's going to be vultures homing and rich pickings to perhaps have it at Stamford Bridge in the summer. It is a phenomenal state, but thank goodness, not our problem. We've had enough problems. Let's concentrate on Newcastle United, and we aren't hit by this, apart from being part of what may be a strange atmosphere. I mean, it might be a strange atmosphere on the home terracing. Our terracing will be full and very boisterous on Sunday, but the home situation might be different. We have a habit, Steve, of going into these matches at London where there's already been something of a crisis. First, we went to West Ham when Zuma was kicking the cat. Then we went to Brentford when Ericsson was making a hugely emotional comeback to football after almost dying. And now we're going back to London for a third match in the public eye, the first match at home for Chelsea after the British sanctions. So it's been an incredible time, really.
Yeah, certainly has. We'll watch that with interest to see what happens. The news coming out of Stamford Bridge, of course, is that obviously tickets that anyone has bought are valid, and there will be some refreshments available when we're down there, so people won't be worried about having a drink, etc. You will get one, but there's just various sanctions which will affect Chelsea massively, and interesting to see how that all pans out. We did touch on this certain person last week. Gordon Lee often comes up in conversation on this show because of the fact that John covered him as a journalist. Malcolm, of course, played for him at Newcastle United. And at 87 years of age, Gordon Lee did pass away. And the last time he was in the Northeast, I have mentioned this on numerous occasions on the show, was a dinner that we did up at the Lancastrian Suite. We've done many, many up there. And Jack Charlton, Keith Birkinshaw, Joe Kinnear, Ian McFall were all at that dinner, along with, sitting on my left-hand side there, Gordon Lee. So there is the picture from that event. Actually, in my hand there are those 3 FA Cup final medals that were on the Antiques Roadshow a couple of weeks ago, which have been valued at quite a lot of money. £15,000, I think, was the total. But Gordon Lee, John. We know that he left a sour taste in the mouth with a lot of Newcastle fans. But like I said to you on the show before, he ultimately stood by his ground. What I was impressed about that night was that it would have been very easy for him to come in and say, I was wrong, and hold his hands up. I guess you couldn't fault the guy. At least he stood by his principles, even if we all did think they were wrong. And I mean, that's all I could really say about him,
I mean, he was a hugely, I think it's totally fair to say he was a hugely controversial figure Newcastle United, because if you want to look at it from Gordon's point of view and give him pluses, you can say he was only here less than 2 years and he got Newcastle to the League Cup final and a fifth top finish. Although that was confirmed after he departed under Richard Dennis, it was his team and the thing just rolled on. So that was a success. On the other side, to Newcastle United fans of a certain age, i.e. fans of that time, to sell a legendary centre-forward and his Supermac and his greatest goal maker, Terry Hibbitt, and then not stick around to see the job through. If you're going to make controversial decisions like that because you feel you're right, I feel you're obligated to seeing the job through and proving yourself right. But to then,
couldn't agree more, John.
To having got rid of those people and then deserted us, the fans, and got rid of the people that we adored was hugely controversial and very, very difficult at the time. And therefore he has remained. And of course, he's, without going into too much depth and with total respect to the man that has passed away and did produce some good results, he produced a split dressing room as well, because there was the Harvey faction of the dressing room, because Gordon replaced Joe, well-loved, trophies won, no relegations, and there was his faction of great players, and there was the new regime of Dowling and Nolte and other players who were very pro-Lee. So it was a very, very controversial time. And what made it worse when Gordon decided to up sticks and go to Everton, having sold our best two players, was that he left us with his number two, who I wish he'd taken with him to Everton, which is Dickie Dennis, who proceeded in the next season to manage to lose 10 league games on the trot, lose in the League Cup to somebody like Millwall at our place, and get us knocked out of the UEFA Cup. We qualified for Europe, managed to do all that in the shortest space of time possible, and then inevitably got sacked. So it was and there was player uprisings at the time. It was a very, very controversial time, and he certainly was here only a short time and made a major impact. Can I leave it like that?
Yeah, but on arrival, John, he actually sought to create a war with certain players. Myself, Terry Hibbitt, Paddy Howard to a degree. But Terry Hibbitt, the way that he was with regards to Terry Hibbitt, in front of his face and behind his back, he was absolutely outrageous. And I finished up not despising the man for what he did to me. It was for what he did to Terry Hibbitt. And what he did was just absolutely unforgivable. And Terry wasn't somebody to be shaken. You know, his mouth was working too much to ever really be shaken. But Gordon Lee shook him and left him somewhat broken by the way that he was treated. And I thought that was absolutely wrong. Football managers should not, must not behave in that fashion to players.
Yeah, fair play. Rest in peace, Gordon. And, ultimately, as you say, a divisive figure on Tyneside. You've heard why from Malcolm. And, he had a good innings. I think that's all we can really say on here. Lots of people putting predictions in for tonight. We will come to tonight's game. And, of course, should have the team news on before we finish. So that will be something a little bit different for tonight's game. Let's just look back at last weekend, John. And, another win. The unbeaten run going, and we beat the Hoodoo at home against Brighton.
Yeah, that was the huge thing. we'd played something like 9-10 games against Brighton in the Premier League, never beaten them. They'd come up here 4 times in the Premier League and got 2 wins and 2 draws. They were our jinx club. And let us be brutally truthful, we didn't play anywhere near as well as we have played recently. When you think of the games that just gone before, I was sitting next to Malcolm in the press box at Brighton, and Newcastle were unrecognisable from the team that they had been, in as much as the passing was so slipshod. We under no pressure, we give the ball away repeatedly. But the staggering thing was that we were played off the park in the first quarter of an hour and were 2-0 up, and which was justified logic. But it was wonderful because what it did was it settled the crowd down. If the crowd got agitated after that by sloppy passing and you could hear the moans, they quickly thought, but wait a minute, we're 2-0 up. Let's keep going. And they try to get behind the team, etc. Now, and throughout the game, I mean, Brighton were pretty, but not pretty effective. They were just pretty. And that's not good enough, and they've suffered from that in the past. In the past, guys, I think we would have lost that game. If we played that game under Steve Bruce, I think we would have lost.
Without a shadow of a doubt, John. Couldn't agree more.
The panic would have set in after they were gifted a goal back, which they were. Dubrovka's ball all day long, didn't get to it. Free header inside the 6-yard box. We would have panicked in that situation in the past, stuck our hand and got beaten. It says an awful lot about this team that when they're not playing well, they can still grind out an ugly result. They can still have the desire, the camaraderie amongst themselves, not to stack the hand and to get another result. And in its own way, I got reassurance that we actually won a match where we didn't play well because the other qualities came to the fore. And certain players did step up to the mark, I felt, and dragged those that were struggling through. And I'm thinking of players like Dan Burn, I'm thinking of Ryan Fraser, and I'm thinking of Joe Linton. They stepped up to the plate and did terrifically well under the circumstances and dragged the others along with them.
And also one other who I thought played ever so well, and that was Kraft. I thought he had a really good game, one of his best, and yet he had just found out that there were 7 players to be released at the end of this season, and he was going to be one of them. And I thought his reaction was really the professional reaction to make, because he knows he's now looking to impress another club to come in and sign him in the summer. And
he was Newcastle's third choice.
Yeah, there will be people wanting him just on that performance against Brighton.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What did you make of last week's game, then, Mal? I mean, it was a hard-earned victory, wasn't it?
Well, yes, it was hard-earned. Not so much by the cause of Brighton, but by the complete miscontrol, mispassing of Newcastle. They just kept giving the ball away. They just kept giving it to Brighton, and Brighton really weren't that good enough in the final third to make something of it. They looked very pretty in the back third and the middle third, but once they were getting around the penalty area, there was no real threat to them at all. It was only once the subs came on that they did then show a threat, and of course one of them scored. And it was just one of those. If my hair was long enough to pull, I would have been pulling it out on the day, because even Shelvey, who is a master of passing the ball. Even he just kept giving it away. Little 10-yard balls, inaccurate, straight to a Brighton player. And there was no way in which Newcastle, they could get their confidence up, because they just kept giving the ball away all of the time. Why? Heaven only knows. I found it a bit of a mystery. And afterwards, I was driving home and I was thinking, well, come on, what was the reason for Newcastle? Because in previous games, their possession had increased hugely, and they were over 50%, which they hadn't achieved beforehand. Yeah, and here they were only, I think it was 29% against Brighton, and Brighton had 71%.
The interesting thing, Malcolm, was that our midfield three, which had hit such a high standard in previous weeks, Joe Linton, Shelby and Willock, I thought Joe Linton was bang on blob, but I thought the other two lads were a step beneath what they had done previously.
Yeah.
Both of them dipped in their form, and Joe Linton pulled a lot of through in that midfield, because this wasn't the Willock that we'd seen recently, and certainly wasn't Shelby. And I mean, Shelby went on and issued an apology to fans afterwards, didn't he? Sort of saying, I wasn't up to speed, sorry about that, etc., etc.
Well, yes, and for so many to be so off form, it does beg the question why. What?
I reckon as well, Malcolm, though, unless you're top notch, unless you're Liverpool or Manchester City, you're going to hit, if everything's based on team spirit, hard work, closing down, there's going to be days when it doesn't happen for you. Now, it didn't happen for us because you can't keep the standard up simultaneously, all of you, all the time. And I feel the same thing happened to Southampton at Aston Villa. They'd been 7 games unbeaten when they went to Villa. If you remember, guys, we were talking on here last week about their manager is in competition with Eddie Howe for manager of the month.
Yeah.
The difference was when Newcastle hit the dip, they pulled through. When they dropped that 5% beneath what they normally are, Southampton, they got crushed. Because unless you're good enough, unless you're a Manchester City or you're a Liverpool, you cannot, if you let your standards drop or one or two people's standards drop, you can't get crushed. Southampton were crushed. We weren't. But it could have happened, and Southampton will be looking to get back to those standards that produced a 7-match unbeaten run when they play us tonight.
Sure. Yeah. And we have to say well done to Eddie Howe for getting the manager of the month, and Shelby got the player of the month, didn't he? If memory serves.
No, it was Fraser that was in for player of the month.
Oh, Fraser was in for it. That's right. Well done to them. But,
well done.
Yeah.
John, any info on this? Doug Hall's asking, have you got any news about the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules concerning Everton's third-year losses? Because the rumour that was circulating yesterday was there could be some points deducted for poor old Everton.
Yes. I mean, they must be twitching like a fried egg, Everton, and not just at the thoughts of us coming up on next week, on Thursday of next week, but because of that. I mean, they are awful, aren't they? I mean, they could well lose points, because weren't we all staggered before Rafa went there? Weren't we all staggered about the amount of money that they had spent to sign Voss? They got somebody in and they just disregarded the rules completely and just went like confetti, throwing money all over the place. signed a load of players over the odds, and it all went pear-shaped. And not only are they in danger of losing points, and it is a genuine situation that they could do so. They might scramble out of that, but they could go down under their own steam. They're playing so badly. Lampard has made no difference. Lampard went out, which was surprising, and he signed 2 players who looked quality, as if you were looking to take them into the top 7. Van de Beek from Manchester United. Van de Beek has only proved to me why he didn't get a game at Manchester United since he went to Everton, because he's done nothing. And Dele Alli, in a poor Everton side, can't get a start. So how have those 2 signings looked? They've looked poor.
Don't forget, Donny van de Beek went to Everton because he didn't want to be involved in a relegation battle, John.
Yeah, what a shame, isn't it? Eh? What a shame. I wonder if he's woken up and realised he is involved in one now. Because brother, he is. And if we put the bait up next Thursday, they're in the deepest of clots. And I tell you, on their way form alone, I think they've lost. Forget the FA Cup, where they've had some nice draws and they've stayed in it. That is not important to them now, because they sure ain't going to win the FA Cup, Everton, and it might get in the road of what they're trying to do in the league. I think Lampard's, I'm not blaming Lampard, by the way, because the real trouble lies in the boardroom there with the mismanagement there's been. But Frank has gone in there to put things right, and I think he's lost 4 out of 5. The only one that wasn't lost was when they beat Leeds. But they're struggling, and away from home, they're beginning to look a little bit like Leeds did before they changed the manager. You know, they get beat 5 by Spurs, and we know they can be good up top, but they can also be very iffy. And Everton are in big trouble, but let's talk about that next midweek when we're about to play Everton.
Yeah, okay. Big shout out to our sponsors as always. Spider VPN for all your internet security. Google Spider VPN. They come up at the top of the search list. They are the boys to trust with your internet protection. Thanks also to skipsandbins.com. Telephone 0800 25 45 25 3. Email inquiries at skipsandbins.com. Website www.skipsandbins.com. Easy contract free and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Thanks also to L&G Family Funeral Directors 01913 3897245 and Garden of Healing Dispensary, CBD hemp and cannabinoid specialists www.thegohd.com. Thanks also to Arcot Interiors. You can find them on Heaton Road, and you can also Google them. They come up at the top of the search list too for all your kitchen necessities. Thanks also to qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend, Newcastle. Thanks also to CleeKai. Meet the new game over screen, dropping to a CleeRun device near you. You can also get them on Apple Store, Google Play, and at CleeRun.game. Thanks to Jab Signature, and thanks to Media Arts for all our video work. If you want to subscribe to the channel, then you can hit the Newcastle Legends logo in the bottom right-hand corner and subscribe for free. We do 7 shows a week. Hit the thumb up to like the video, click share to share to your social media, and drop into the comments box to speak to like-minded Newcastle fans. We're also available as a podcast that goes up usually 24 hours after the show on iTunes, Spotify, and the rest. And don't forget, we've got a big event coming up with Malcolm and Gibbo and Young Holly at Marlborough Social Club, Saturday the 9th of April, 12 noon. Tickets are £10 from newcastlelegends.com. And this is going to be a fundraiser for the people of Ukraine. So if you would like to support the people of Ukraine, what better way to do it than buy a ticket for this event and come along and have an afternoon of entertainment with us guys and raise a little bit of money for charity as well. Be good to see as many people along there as possible. Don't forget as well, the Food Bank t-shirt is one more day to go. Get yourself onto my Twitter at Steve Wraith and make a bid for this shirt. It's currently at £150. All proceeds go to Newcastle West End Food Bank, of course, which we support weekly, daily on this show. And with there being no match for a few weeks, please go to the website, NUFC fans, foodbank.co.uk, and drop some money into the virtual match day bucket. All proceeds once again go to the food bank. And last chance to get tickets as well. to enter into the raffle for 2 tickets for the Alan Shearer dinner, which is at St James's Park, the 260 dinner. Go to nufcmatters.com and buy your tickets today. We will draw that just before the close of play on the Three Amigos show tomorrow night. And don't forget, I am doing a live tonight. One of the true crime interviews that I do with a guy called Cookie. That will be at 8 o'clock tonight, telling us tales of the West End of Newcastle. So it should be an interesting chat, that one. Looking forward to having him on. Now, I did get a tweet this week from Kenny Ranson, who's one of our daily viewers. Sorry, yeah, he's been with us all the way through. He's a cult member. And he said, Malcolm, it's good to see your lasses using little messages to let people know about your toilet mishaps. All in good fun, I might add, he says. Number 1 dribbler, Mal.
Yes. My daughter, my youngest daughter, she bought me that. And I said, oh, it's a real compliment. She said, no, Dad, it's not.
Brilliant.
So, yes. And then it dawned on me, of course, just what she was going on about.
Yeah, fantastic stuff.
Cheeky,
that's what happens.
There she is.
Yeah, Kenny, that was done in good spirits, mate. Well done, mate.
Yes.
Good spot. That nothing wrong with his eyesight.
Absolutely.
It has to be said. Okay, we've got 2 games to look forward to, obviously, which we'll come to in the next 10 minutes or so. But we have got a couple of questions. Tom Dixon says, question for Malcolm and John: if Eddie Howe makes changes tonight, what do you think he will change? Well, he's got a big schedule, John, hasn't he? And this is where we're going to see a little bit of squad rotation. And in his interview yesterday in the press conference, he alluded to the fact that things would have to change. And why not? We've got good players in reserve. We've got Bruno chomping at the bit to come on. He's looked very impressive when he has come on. I think we will see 1 or 2 changes.
The interesting thing is we should be able to announce the team shortly, Steve, because I think it's released at 6:30, an hour before the kickoff, which is 7:30. So we'll know the team very, very shortly, and hopefully, Steve, you will have access to it where you are to let us know.
Okay, well, here we are. We've got it. It's coming. It is trickling through. So perfect timing. Bruno is starting tonight. We're still waiting for the full team. ASM is not involved, and Joe Linton is also missing. We're just waiting for the actual team to come through from Lee Ryder. What he's doing is he's putting tweets out with information, with people who are playing, etc. Okay, add us straight in here. Newcastle team: Dubravka, Kraft, Shaw, Byrne, Target, Shelvey, Willock, Bruno, Murphy, Fraser, and Wood. So Joe Linton is out. So clearly carrying a little bit of either a knock or maybe it's a little bit of lethargic reaction.
Yeah,
but
he's not getting rested. He's not getting rested.
No, not at all, John.
He wouldn't have rested him because he was the best of the 3 in midfield the last game. And he's loved by Eddie. There's something wrong there physically. It's let Bruno in. That's good. I didn't expect Saint-Maximin to start from what Eddie was saying, but he's not. I presume from what you've got, you may not have had the bench, Steve. But you
ASM is not on the bench. We're still waiting for the bench. Here's the subs now: Darlow, Dummett, Lascelles, Ritchie, Manquillo, Almiron, Gale, Longstaff, and De Boer.
Yeah, so there's no. So there's the one change in the team, which is Bruno for Joe Linton.
Yeah, so the team again: Dubravka, Kraft, Byrne, Shaw, Target, Bruno, Willock, Shelvey, Murphy, Wood, Fraser. And on the bench, Darlow, Dummett, Lascelles, Ritchie, Manquillo, Almiron, Gale, Longstaff, and De Boer. So no ASM, Mal.
No. What I think Newcastle are going to do is they're going to play obviously 4 at the back, but then they're going to play 2 with 3 in front of them in the midfield, and Shelvey and Bruno look to make that sort of deep lying partnership. It'll be interesting, and if anybody's going to get forward from there, it will be Bruno, I think. There was a huge piece by Eddie Howe defending Wood and saying how well he's doing. People might not realise it and what have you. And I've got to say, I'm sorry, but for once, I disagree with what Eddie Howe is saying. I know he's trying to boost the player up, boost his confidence and what have you. But it just worries me when you go overboard in your praise of somebody when they're actually having a bad time, that it could go to their head and he could think, oh, I'm doing all right then. Well, no, you're not, pal. You're not at all. You're far from it.
I've got to be honest, I'm just chuckling away here because on Twitter, whilst I was looking for the team, I did stumble across a photo which, there's a bit of banter between our two owners, Meardad and Jamie Rubin. He's put a tweet up saying, Jamie Rubin, you'll never leave me. You think they could have afforded another seat for poor Jamie? He's having to sit on the end there.
In fact, Amanda's having to hang on to him so he doesn't fall off.
Honestly, the humour between them two is absolutely brilliant on there on social media. It's absolutely hilarious. They're always having a bit of banter, and it is good to see. It keeps the spirits up amongst their fans on there. Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, look, John, it's a good team anyway. I think it's a good. There is a big change in there. What do we expect to see from Bruno tonight then?
Well, it's interesting. The problem has been solved for Eddie, and good luck to him on that, by Joe Linton not being available, because he had to try to get Bruno on the team before the fella went like a pint of milk on the doorstep in the sunshine and turned all sour. I mean, he had to get him in the team because he hasn't started in 5 games, and that's happened tonight. Under normal circumstances, with everybody fit, I would have preferred it not to be Joe Linton who went out. But having said that, I don't think Bruno coming in is going to weaken the team significantly because he's a good player. Yes, the physicality of Joe Linton will be missed, but Bruno will do a job in there. He had to come in the side. It is a good team on paper. The rest of the team, with Murphy in it, has done well and got results. I'm more than happy to stick my colours on those 11 tonight and see what comes out of it. I had a feeling that Bruno was, under any circumstances, regardless of Joe Linton's injury or illness, would have started either this game or Chelsea. It'll be interesting to see what happens at Chelsea. Sam Maximin probably wouldn't be fit enough to start then either. He might make the bench. Will Joe Linton be involved at Chelsea? Let's get this game out the way to start with. But I don't think the team is weakened greatly. Although I would have loved to have seen perhaps Bruno, Joe Linton and Willock in as the midfield three. And the only reason I say Willock ahead of Shelby is because when you're playing the way Newcastle are, with a centre forward that's not scoring goals, you can't afford to take Willock out of the side, who is a goal threat. We need the goal threat of Willock if you're not getting goals from elsewhere, and especially at centre forward. So we do need that. I'm happy enough with that team, and I've just got a feeling that we will not lose.
Okay, go on. Well, let's have a prediction for this game then. How do you think we're going to be? How do you think we're going to do tonight?
Well, to finish what I was saying before you two lads come in, we are unbeaten in 8. It's the longest run in the Premier League, by the way. It's the longest going unbeaten run in the Premier League is Newcastle United. And can we continue it? It's the start of 4 games which are hugely going to test us in terms of staying unbeaten, because all 4 are away, and not against 3, not against poor opposition in Southampton, Chelsea, and Spurs. Everton's a different ballgame. But we're right at the start of that, and I think I'm praying for a win, but I think we'll draw. And I would almost take a draw now as kickoff approaches, because it keeps the unbeaten run going, etc., etc. And I don't want to start a 4-match away run with a defeat. So I think I would actually take the draw, but that's my prophecy, is that we'll get a point tonight, and the unbeaten run, therefore, will continue.
Joe Linton's picked up a hamstring injury. Thanks to Julie Baker for sending this over. Newcastle World understands the 25-year-old has picked up a slight hamstring tweak. It's a blow for United, with Joe Linton becoming an unlikely midfield general since Howe arrived. The good news, of course, is Newcastle fans will see Bruno. So there we go. That is the news on that. Mal, how do you see the game going tonight?
Well, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see, with Bruno in there with Shelvey, whether they can from the beginning dominate midfield, and if they can, then they're going to give Southampton a lot of problems.
Ward-Prowse is in there, by the way. Ward-Prowse is in there.
Yes,
he's good.
He can cause trouble. Can Ward-Prowse, even though with Wood not scoring, that there is still a good strike rate, I think, from Newcastle, because Fraser's starting to get into the box an awful lot more, and of course he scored in the last game. Murphy it was that actually made it for Fraser with his shot against the post, and so there's Murphy is always going to be a goal threat, that's for sure, and we know that Willock will always keep getting into the box. That's great. And it's going to be interesting to see that attacking three of midfield, how they're supported, and the creation that comes from the two midfielders behind them now. How is Shelvey and Bruno going to dovetail together? I am really looking forward to seeing how that works. And of course, what I think that we've already learnt about Eddie Howe is that he gets his players nicely organised. He works hard at getting them to dovetail with each other, and from that we're seeing players improving all of the time, and that's at the back as well as in the middle, and it would be good for Newcastle to keep hold of possession. Don't give it away like they were doing against Brighton, because away from home you want to deny the home side of as much possession as you possibly can, and that lowers the opponent's performance. And so I'm looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Bruno slots into midfield from the word go, rather than just coming on for the last few minutes.
Prediction, big man? Prediction?
Prediction. I have a feeling there's going to be goals. I'll take a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. Yeah. I'm going for a draw, lads. I'm going for a draw tonight as well. I think our back four will hold up. I think this could be a rather entertaining 0-0 draw.
Good gracious me!
I think it could be end to end with a crossbar on the post getting hit, but I think a 0-0 draw tonight. I think Newcastle's got a good solid back line.
I haven't seen too many interesting, exciting 0-0 draws, but I'm prepared for one tonight. I'll take that.
I thought the cup final the other week was probably one of the best 0-0s I've seen for a while, and it went to Liverpool and Chelsea. I'm expecting something like that tonight. Yeah, but a bit of woodwork getting hit, but I think both rear guards will stand up to the test tonight, and we'll see. Watch Southampton or Newcastle score in the first minute to shut us up. What do I know?
Do you think that Eddie Howe has pinned up those quotes from Hasenhüttl
Got to have done.
about the players that shouldn't play.
He's got to be playing that on loop, hasn't he? On the bus down and getting the lads saying, listen to this. Yeah, Matt Ritchie's on the bench, Jody Toon for life. I was happy to see that. Still life in the old dog yet, the experienced head in the dressing room, etc. So I will be pleased. Luke Wilson says, I've just tuned in. What's the crack with Joe Linton? He's got a hamstring injury, mate. So he's out and Bruno's in. It's the only change to the team. Like we said, we knew this is how Bruno would get in, either a suspension or an injury. So sadly, it is an injury to Joe Linton. Let's see what Bruno does. ASM. Again, no answer as to what's happening with ASM. I'm not sure whether he's just going to rest him for this game and bring him back in for the Chelsea game. I'm sure that will all become evident. Of course, tonight's referee is Kevin Friend. Andre Mariner is on VAR. Let's see what happens tonight. 7:30 kickoff, 3,330 Geordies down there singing the hearts out for the lads. Should be interesting. And of course, some fans will choose to stay down until Sunday. Some will be coming back and making the long trek down to Chelsea on Sunday.
Are they able to get back tonight, Steve?
No, have to come back tomorrow. Unless you've come down on the bus, of course, you'll be able to come back. It'll be a early morning arrival back. If you've chosen to do that. Of course, Chelsea, as we talked about, are surrounded with controversy at the minute through no fault of their own, but through the fault of their owner. And we travel there on Sunday. It is live on television. It is a 2:00 kickoff at Stamford Bridge, live on Sky Sports. And all 3,000 away tickets have been sold. I will be one of them. Looking forward to being down there and singing for the lads. And Chelsea play Norwich tonight in their rearranged Premier League game. So it'll be interesting to see what they do tonight. So we will get a little bit more of an indication of how the teams are going to line up later in the week. The referee is David Coote. It's his third appointment to a Newcastle game this season, following the 2-0 loss at Villa, a 1-1 draw at Brighton. VAR will be John Brooks. And this is a big test, because if we get through tonight's game, lads, let's say we do end up with a point in the bag and a draw and keeping the run going, you would look at the fixtures and say this is the one where we'll probably hit a brick wall. We're playing Chelsea. We're playing a team which is, always in the top echelons of the division. They've just been to a cup final. Unfortunately for them, they lost it on a fantastic penalty shootout. But they've got class in every single department. They've got a fantastic manager. You would like to think Newcastle could get something, but the law of averages would say it is highly unlikely. And just to give you an indication, the last couple of years, we lost 2-0 last year. The season before that, we lost 1-0. Season before that, we lost 2-1. Before that, 3-0 in the FA Cup. It's just loss. Last time we got something down there, many of you will remember the wonderful goals that Cisse scored in 2011, 2012. We won 2-0 against the run of play. We had a pretty good season. Pretty good run of games against them then. That was in a period when we managed to string 4 results against them back to back. But that was the last time we went to Stamford Bridge and won. So, John, this is a tough test, mate.
Under normal circumstances, and they're not normal because of today's news about Abramovich, under normal circumstances, we've got to remember that this manager has come in and they've won the champions of Europe and the champions of the world club championship. So, you can't get bigger than that. And under normal circumstances, you would say the Newcastle United run, unbeaten run, has got to come to an end sometime. And if we avoid that tonight, which is more than possible, you would inevitably think it would come at Chelsea. The only difference now is, does what has happened with Abramovich, with the limited crowd they will have on Sunday, because it will not be the capacity, because you can't pay at the turnstiles, you can't go in if you haven't already got tickets, with the attitude of the players? Are they going to readily accept this, roll their sleeves up and have a siege mentality. Everybody's against us. The famous Ferguson way of doing it, Man United. Everybody hates us. Everybody's against us. Let's show them. Or are the players, some of them privately, going to think, well, it's been a wonderful run. We're European champions. We're world champions. I've got a free transfer at the end of the season. I can make a right few quid and go somewhere else. We don't quite know. We might get an idea after seeing them play tonight. We don't quite know what they're going to carry into the fray on Sunday. Ironic, isn't it? Because we're all with them tonight. We all want them to do great tonight and beat Norwich because we like our thumb on the top of Norwich and keeping them down where they are, and then we want to beat them on Sunday. But under normal circumstances, this would be as tough as it gets. The slight hope we've got is there going to be any bounce back from what's happened today.
Yeah, exactly. It's difficult to talk about a game when we don't know the result of the last game, But yeah, we've got to look at it. And this is an interesting point, Mal. Chris Collins says our last Brazilian purchase found himself as a fan's favourite in midfield, despite being bought as a striker. He says maybe our latest will find himself as a number 9 after he bangs in a hat trick tonight. Great one.
We shall see.
Whoever thought Newcastle would have 2 Brazilian midfield players?
Yeah.
I know they're not playing together tonight, but they have in previous games at some stage. But 2 big Brazilians in there who have naturally become very, very big mates since Bruno's joined Newcastle. He's become a very big mate of Joe Linton, and that would be obvious, not just language-wise, but culture and everything else. Interesting, fun. Let Bruno be everything he wants to be tonight, and then we'll take it from there.
Absolutely. Just a thought, guys, just slightly changing back to something that we were discussing earlier on. With Everton, that Derby have already been punished, and I think they had 12 points deducted. That's the usual thing. With Everton, would the Premier League follow the Football League in terms of the same punishment and deduct 12 points from Everton? Because if they do, if they were to do it now, Everton,
they're down there, aren't they? They're down.
They would go down to the bottom on 10 points if they had 12 deducted. They'd be 7 points behind Norwich, for heaven's sake, with 13 games left to play.
What I found interesting, Mal, over the games that have happened in this last little spell is we were talking very early in the programme at how Newcastle, under the cosh against Brighton, nonetheless dug out a terrific result and got 3 points. In that time, in that same batch of time, the 4 bottom clubs all lost and defensively got coshed because we had Norwich let in 3 at home to Brentford, Watford let in 3 at home to Arsenal, Burnley let 4 in at home, and Everton let 5 in at Spurs. So the bottom 4 all lost and got coshed defensively while we got 3 points. That was a terrific weekend for us, and perhaps we forget about that. That was tremendous weekend for us. And if we got anything tonight, then that's a little further step. That gulf, I honestly believe that Newcastle will not go down, but we've got to keep our foot on the accelerator. Because if we get sloppy and get poor results over the 4 away games and then finish up with the run-in that Malcolm was talking about last week when we play Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City and finish with Burnley, then we would be in trouble. We've got to keep the boat going the way it is over these 4 games and then we've got Crystal Palace for points, etc.
Yeah.
And then we can go into the finish not worried.
Right. If Newcastle were to aim at getting at saying, right, let's not get beat. We might not win, but let's be looking to get 4 points out of these next 4 games.
And we could well do, Malcolm.
We could well do. Yeah.
We could get 3 at Everton. And if we get
absolutely. That's the thing, tonight, John. Yeah.
There we are, you know?
Yes.
There we are. It is more than possible, especially the way the team is now. Because if this team had started the season and with Eddie Howe in charge, we would be cruising mid-table now or slightly above that.
Mm.
If this team has started the season with the new manager and the players we've got now and the spirit and the organisation and the belief, we wouldn't be in any sort of trouble whatsoever.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And
prediction for Sunday, lads.
Oh, before we know tonight, you're a naughty one, you Wraithy. You are a naughty one. Let's put it another way. I would take anything that was in our favour. I would take anything because my normal prediction would be this is the one we lose. This is the one we lose. The secret is, for me, if that happens, if we do lose, and that still must remain a distinct probability, if we lose, it's how we lose. Let us lose. If we're going to lose, let us lose 2-1, 3-2. Let us not do an Everton where it's 5-0, and then let's bounce back from it big time. It is about, and I've got every confidence in this side, in this squad. I don't think we'll get ripped to pieces on Sunday. That's the first thing. We will not get ripped to pieces on Sunday. Might we get a draw? We might well. We don't know. We're second guessing. We don't know if Joe Linton will be fit. We don't know if Sam Maximum will be fit. We don't know if we're going to get any injuries tonight. And we don't know how Chelsea are going to approach the game. We might find out after the way they approach the game against Norwich. But we could get something out of it. And I don't think we'll be humiliated. And if we're not, then every good run's going to end sometime. We are going to get beaten sometime between now and the end of the season. If it happens to be Chelsea, then that ain't so bad if we go to Everton and take them out.
John, that's exactly the point that I was going to make. Yes, that we probably will get beat by Chelsea, but it's how you respond to that defeat in the next game, and that's where you go and look to get 3 points.
If we drew at Chelsea and drew at Everton, you'd say, hey, not bad. Well, have we done well there or what? That's 2 points. If we lose at Chelsea and win at Everton, that's 3 points.
Yeah, you can get 3 by winning, yeah.
Okay, prediction from you then, lads, for that. I'm going to go 1-0 Chelsea.
Yeah, I think we'll lose by a single goal, whether it's 1-0 or 2-1.
Yeah, I think it'll be 2-0.
Okay, great stuff. Just a quick reminder of the teams for tonight. Newcastle line up like this: Dubravka, Kraft, Shaw, Byrne, Target. Shelby captains the team: Willock, Bruno, Murphy, Fraser and Wood. And Richie returns to the bench today after his injury layoff. De Ball's on there, Longstaff, Gale, Almiron, Darlow, Dummett, Lascelles and Manquillo. And the Saints line up like this: former Newcastle goalkeeper is in nets, and that is Fraser Foster. Then we've got Livramento, Benaric, Salisu, Walker Peters, Rumayu, James Ward-Prowse, Armstrong, Elianusi, Broja and Che Adams. And on the bench, of course, a familiar face in Armstrong, former Newcastle United player. Let's hope he doesn't come back to haunt us tonight. So enjoy the game, folks, whether you're listening to the radio or whether you are managing to watch it on a stream somewhere. And once again, John and Malcolm, great to spend Thursday evening with you, and look forward to seeing you a little bit earlier next week, because I'll be on my way to Everton. So we'll probably do a 10 o'clock in the morning next week, if that's okay with you, lads.
All right.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Yeah, I think that's
Fingers
okay.
crossed tonight, guys, and Sunday.
Absolutely.
Take care, guys.
Let's go get them tonight.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.